everybody. Welcome back. It's Cape Rugby TV time. We're taking a look at what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Nice full show for you tonight, but definitely a sort of more of a talk show tonight where we're taking a look at what's happening in Western Province. And it's really been an interesting time, especially considering City Park and the Women's Rugby Festival this past weekend. Big thanks, of course, to Score Energy Drinks on board with Cape Rugby TV. We're going to give you an opportunity a little bit later during the course of the show to win yourself a case of Score. And, of course, don't forget, we're going to talk to you a little bit about CyberSmart Internet Service Providers. CyberSmart, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV, an amazing internet company to look after all your needs and services. In studio with me, Alistair Tace. Alistair, nice to have you back, man.
It's nice to be back, JP.
I see you looking very fresh. Have you a new haircut and everything?
I had a fresh cut this morning.
A fresh cut this morning, yeah.
Had a couple of appointments I had to be by.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll look nice and neat.
I think so. All your fans will be happy to know that you are...
Fans?
You fans, yeah. We know that you've got fans. Are you getting people asking you for autographs and things like that?
They just asked if we can mention their names.
Really?
Or the clubs, yeah.
The clubs?
The clubs.
Oh, give us a couple of clubs.
Macassar.
Yeah. Well, I must say, we're going to look at some of the Macassar game today. They played at the track this past weekend against Hamadias.
Yeah. It was a tight one, eh?
Yeah. But and of course, my understanding is that everybody will be wondering, why did they play at the track? But my understanding is that Watsonia was playing at Vrygieskraal, and so Hamadias had to move.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. I thought maybe the field was not playable.
No. So let's just talk about that for a second, because we've got a couple of highlights. I'm not sure exactly how long these highlights are, the Hamadias Macassar game. But if we talk about Macassar Hamadias, the track can be a intimidating place to play.
Yeah.
But what if it's not your home ground? Is it still intimidating?
No, look, it depends on your supporter base. You know, if your whole crowd or your whole club is behind you at the track, it can be. But it's a nice venue to play at.
Yeah.
You know, it's center of the CBD. Location is nice.
Yeah.
So, I love playing at the track.
Well, it does look really good, yeah. Folks, we're gonna take a look at the start now of the results in Super League B. Still going to talk a lot about women's rugby tonight, and we've of course got a lot of predictions and logs and fixtures. So tonight a really nice and relaxed show for you. All right, so looking then at Super League B, NTK with a 29-12 win over Goodwood. Hamadias with a 1-point win over Macassar, 26 points to 25. And then Franschhoek, 7-5 over Kraaifontein. CPUT went down to Primrose. And Collegians, 46-19 over Hands and Hearts. All right, Alistair, any matches jump out for you there in Super League B? I know that you're involved with Super League B. But, it's been an interesting weekend, yeah.
It's been an interesting weekend because the win for NTK keeps them in that top 6 battle. You know, Goodwood now needs to win their last game. Hamadias, that keeps him in the fight from staying away from the promo game.
Yeah.
And the surprise for me was the Franschhoek Kraaifontein. I really thought that Kraaifontein would take that game. And then Primrose has secured their spot now with beating CPUT over the weekend.
Well, let's take a quick look then at the log in Super League B, folks. Well, as Alistair was saying, you can see it now. Franschhoek is sitting at number 1 on the log. That's their league done now. They've played their 14 games, and they definitely will now secure a top spot in in fact, there's no guarantee yet, Alistair, if I'm right, because Kraaifontein still have to play, and so does Belhar. So there could be a small impact on position 1 and 2.
Yeah.
If Kraaifontein and Belhar both pick up 5 points, and if they're able to come out in points difference. Yeah,
I think Belhar's done as well, because they were supposed to play Carmel this weekend, but Carmel were pitched.
Right.
You know, so they should be on 54. You know, so that's their season done.
Right.
But the highest they can go to, at the moment, they should be on second place on that log.
And of course, the significance with first and second is that you're guaranteed you don't have to play in the quarterfinals.
Yeah. So you go straight into the semis.
Yeah.
It's not really a home semis because you're still playing at City Park.
Yeah.
You know, but you get a week break, a longer preparation for the semi-final.
Yeah. How important is that? I mean, you're involved with strength and conditioning and coaching and all sorts of things.
Look, it's been a long season, to be honest with you, and it's been a long couple of weeks weather-wise. So the games has been quite physical when it's wet, you know.
Yeah.
So having that extra week for the boys to recover, but preparation as well for the semis is good. Other coaches might disagree and say, look, we want momentum. We want to play in week out week till we get to the, to the knockouts.
Do you have information on what happens with the league here at this stage with regards to second team and third team and that, or do they finish?
Yeah, so once the knockouts, once you reach the knockout stages, then it's only your first team that's carrying your club into that, if you make the top 8, or top 6, sorry.
Let's talk about the rest of the log there. Like we said, Franschhoek, Primrose, Kraaifontein, Bella, Macassar, and NTK. They're sitting at the top 6 at the moment. And then in the middle of the pile, and they've all got one game left other than Goodwood. There's one last game. And there cannot be really much movement in Super League B there. Goodwood, Collegians, Hamlets, Belleville, Hamadiers, CPUT. And right at the bottom of the log at the moment is Vineyards, Hands and Hearts, and Kylemore. So, Alistair, if you talk through that there, there's still a small chance for Goodwood to squeeze into the top 6. Yeah. Small chance for Collegians to squeeze into the top 6. Hamlets, Belleville, Hamadiers, CPUT, there's no chance for them to get into the top 6. But Goodwood Collegians, they're still in with a shout. Yeah,
they're in with a shout, but it's very tricky at the moment because you got Goodwood who's got one game left. They could go above NTK, but Goodwood's last game is against Vineyards. Vineyards needs to win one of the two to stay out of the relegation game. So it's it's quite tricky there with the two clubs. And then if we look at the bottom,
we're talking now, of course, bottom 3, the relegation space.
The relegation space, and for Goodwood to get into the top 6, and at the relegation space. So Vineyards needs to play Goodwood. Goodwood would want to win that game to get top 6. Vineyards would want to win the game to get out of the bottom 3. Then Vineyards plays Hands and Hearts. So they got 2 games where they can get out of that. But to be honest, the clash looks like it's going to be between Amadeus and CPUT.
The old question is, of course, how do you keep your players motivated at this stage of the game, knowing that you need every last ounce at this stage to avoid relegation and promotion, and it's difficult to keep your players motivated when you're in that space where you've had a tough season and things haven't been going on your while. But that's probably the most important time of the whole year that you really need to keep the guys there to carry you over the...
Yeah, I think, it's pride in... I think it would be pride in the organization or the club at the end. Sometimes when a club's back is against the wall, there's only one way to go, and that's forward. So there's various ways that people might try and keep them motivated. But I think just having pride in the organization and in what they want, where they want to be with the organization. Not to drop a league, maybe just to stay up for another season.
All right, folks, so let's just give you that rundown of results then again from Super League B. NTK 29-12 over Goodwood. Hamadiers, they walked away with that win over Macassar. Now we're going to bring you some of the highlights from the Macassar game. The guys from Empire Hub Media filmed some of the highlights there. We managed to get that. And of course, Franschhoek and Kraaifontein, CPT going down to Primrose, and then Collegians and Hands and Hearts. I think, Alistair, one of the things also that jumps out there for me is Collegians 46-19 over Hands and Hearts. When Hands and Hearts is playing at home at Aikendal, for them it's a fortress. It's they've got a lot of home fans, people are watching, and it's difficult to win in Aikendal when you're playing Hands and Hearts. And it's the same for Collegians. When you're playing Collegians playing at home, they've got all the fans there. This is a good result for Collegians. It goes to show they can travel. Yeah,
definitely. It's tough playing at Hands and Hearts, but Hands and Hearts has also had a tough season, not just from a playing perspective, but changing in personnel. They changed personnel, they sort of tried to come back on track towards the end of the season. But in saying that, Collegians would want to bounce back from last week's result, and that's a good away win for them.
Yeah, all right, folks. So still we're going to take a look at the highlights, Hamadiers and Macassar. That's going to come up after the break. This past weekend, it was Women's Rugby Festival at City Park. There were 18 women's teams playing, 9, of course, from Group A and 9 from Group B. And Women's Rugby Festival started at 12 o'clock, finished at 6 o'clock. And so we're going to talk and show you some highlights of the Women's Rugby Festival. And, of course, we're going to take a look a little bit later during the course of the show at the Hamiltons versus False Bay game. And we'll bring you some of the highlights of previous games last week. We'll be back after the break. Don't go away.